Hello, everyone, and it's a pleasure to bring you the next edition of Dawdle.live, our podcast series. And today we have a distinguished guest before us, and I would like to specifically say hello to Mr. Abhijit Panigrahi. Abhijit, welcome to
Hello,
the podcast from Dawdle.live.
hello.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure, and I know Rishikesh for a long time, and he has requested me to come into this platform, and I humbly accepted it. And let's see how I can put my inputs, my 30 years of experience in the industry, and it's all about giving your experiences now. It's enough of experience now. Just give up to the next generation.
I'm sure there are so many beneficiaries of that wisdom because in today's time and age when there are so many failures and success everyone encounters on their
Right.
journey, it is very important to pick up these learnings and apply to your trajectory or your path and see how you can make a roadmap
Absolutely,
for yourself. So,
absolutely.
definitely. So, Abhijit, I know you are the chief mentor for Invents Private
Yeah,
Solutions Private Limited, and I was just going through your journey, your life journey. It has been incredible. You have worked across multiple organizations, including Accenture, and I saw that you started with Atlas Cycles
yeah,
into a tech role. And
yeah.
so, if I'm correct, this is the same Atlas Cycles, the famous brand we all are aware of,
Absolutely, it's Atlas Cycle. I don't think it is around now, but it was one of the premier band those days, along with Hero. So
along with
Atlas was
Hero.
number one, Hero was number two those days. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
in
yeah.
96, 97 time frame.
Must be quite a distance you have covered.
Absolutely, yeah,
So,
yes.
so let's begin with this whole transition itself. When you
Hmm.
started way back as a developer and now you are a mentor.
Hmm.
So, as a whole evolution of you as a
Hmm.
technologist, we would like to know that how that happened. Because when we start as a career as a developer, we are focused on certain set of deliverables which are very highly tech or application oriented. And then now these days you are advising, mentoring founders, budding entrepreneurs. So, what were the key turning points that shaped your shift from writing code to shaping business strategy?
Yeah, it's a long journey, almost 3 decades, and I would say in those days when we started, IT was not at all a career, to understand some other language like COBOL, Pascal, C, C++, at the languages those days. When you want to do something different, you wanted to put your career into fire, and you don't want to into get a girlfriend and those things, then IT was never the option. So when you get into those things, IT we choose accidentally, because the state I'm coming from is Odisha. Is mostly either you have to be engineer, doctor, and end of the day you have to get into a government job. So then we decided whatever government job. Then I don't never wanted to do a job at all. That's the beginning when I was in a college. I was never wanted to do a job. But when I accidentally pushed myself into an IT role, I started as a developer. But I was a decent developer. I worked, various technologies, but I was a decent developer. I would never say myself as an outstanding developer, because I never worked for a longer period of time as a developer. So, but the curiosity always there. If I'm developing something, for whom? For what? Who is going to get a benefit out of it? I'm not those things who's too deep into the technologies. I understood the technology. I know if I write this thing, this is going to happen. But who is the beneficiary? How much benefit is going to get out of it? So real business sense was always in my mind. I've never been happy with developing something. Then I'm giving to my project manager. Then going to a client. We have no access to the client those days. But that was always my curiosity level. But when I finished my 4 5 year of career, and then I started my first entrepreneurship. In early 2000, I started, never registered. I called it as a multi-sys, but it never happened. It kicked off. When you don't have a money to have a bread and butter, then what to do? Why to leave it? So then I joined Accenture. Then when I joined Accenture, then it was kind of then initial few days as software engineer, senior software engineer, then get into more of a consulting role. I try to understand what a business, how technology can help a business. Then what is my role? Do I end to be a technology person, or I wanted to be a midman who understand the technology plus who wanted to understand the business and wanted to be a bridge? That was my starting point of of shifting my focus from a hardcore techie to standing a business. So that is always my I was fascinated by standing in the middle, understanding the technology guy what they're doing and what do the business guys need. So in that sense, when I started Accenture, and then over a period of time, I never wanted to do a job. Big brands like Accenture or Infosys or TCS never fascinated me. For only thing fascinated the case study I worked with. I worked with the pharma companies that to understand why they need a certain technology and what benefit they're going to get out of it. So that helped me to prepare a strategic roadmaps, short-term goals, and mid-term goals, and then how technology can benefit. Technology to me was never should not be a prime role. It is always a catalyst to any business. Today if Amazon is not there, still people are going to buy things. It's never going to stop. Today, if there was no Facebook, we used to try latest, right? In latest. So that is still the business never stops. The operations in the world never stops. So that is where when technology comes, what kind of a catalyst role it plays to change the entire ecosystem. That was my interest. And then post Accenture, I had to come back to Bhubaneswar again because of some family compulsions and all. Then I joined a company which was neither a startup nor a very established company. And that was a very interesting case study for me. And that company was a template. They were derived, the founders were derived from a very renowned organization. And then it was a very template centric. You have an engagement, you have a delivery, you have a sales, you have a development. It's a very standardized template, whatever they learned. And I understood that that is my perfect from somebody who thinks always out of box to experiment. So I spent 9 years there, which give me an experience about like okay, if they do this thing in it operating in a template, they can't accept any changes in the world, and that is why they're heading towards a sell, or they want to quit the as a founding member. They don't want to continue that. Eventually, it sold off. Then it sold off. Then I said it is enough time. I already spent 2 decades into the IT consultant, delivery manager, whatever you say, engagement manager, sales, everything I did. I want to do a 360 degree, part of a recruitment, infrastructure, everything. Then I said, let me start an organization. I carefully choose my partners who are not of my generation. I wanted to have a mix of my N6 is I'm one of the founders. There we have 4 generations. I'm the old age generation. The next guy is around your experience, around 15, 20 years experience. He brings in those technology blend, and other two are Gen Z, not in a negative sense, but they are Gen Zs. They have those dreaming big in one day and second day thinking something. But those ideas we can't think because we are frozen our brains to cannot think. So, two Gen Zs, one hardcore techie and one business guy. It's a perfect blend, and there is absolutely no disagreements. There will be disagreements in conversations, but there's no disagreement to a theory because fourth generation taking a decisions, we know what to do. I know how to balance all these things, and that is where I landed off with Invin6. And it's I write it chief mentor because I am not fascinated by those designations of managing director, CEO. I've never been fascinated with the designations. That is where day one we founded. You never find my profile anywhere in social media or any of my clients' thing profile. I'm always called as a mentor because if I can mentor my organization, and then I can mentor anybody in the world. So mentoring your own organization is always difficult job. For others to give you a knowledge about something is easy because you don't know who am I. When you give you mentoring your own organization from a fresher to a lead or project manager, that's a longer rope, right? Now it's very difficult. They see what you do. Do you only talk or you really perform in that level? So you have to very carefully choose your words, not giving gans about this, that, this. So that is where we choose ourselves. You see my partner's profile also, they never write as directors or this thing. This is where our initial thought process. That's where I landed too. And from a developing journey to a entrepreneurial journey. But entrepreneur, I can say myself as a fresher entrepreneur with just 8-year experience. That's what
Mhm.
I mean.
Yeah. Well, I would say those 8 years are then the most critical years because I think those are the most abundant with all the knowledge
Absolutely, absolutely.
planning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Most only analogy. Well, you rightly said about that we hardly come across a title like chief mentor. The only
Correct.
analogy which I can draw is with IPL. IPL teams have their chief mentors or mentors,
Yes, absolutely.
and they keep shuffling. One mentor for this franchisee can be mentoring other
On
franchisee.
the other franchisee, mentor is just such a powerful word. there is nothing to lose, right? If I if a 2 years guy in my organization getting a direct talk to me, how many times when you start your career you can talk to your project manager which is 15-year experience? Hardly, right? There is so much
Mm.
barriers, and project manager is just next to Brahma and next to your parents, and he's a great guy. What he says is correct. Consciously break those barriers. My door is open to everybody if I'm not busy with my task. Everybody can talk, and the pep talks and the way I drive the organization is technology is secondary. Though I'm driving a tech company. Technology cannot be a primary shot. It has to be secondary. If it doesn't serve your client, it doesn't serve your business, then it doesn't make any sense. With your analogy to IPL, unless and until you win a match, it doesn't make any impact on you. Individual brilliance can come at any given point of time, like Vaibhav Suryavanshi at 14, he hit a century, he became individual brilliance. But as a team, if you don't deliver to a business, to a purpose, those technology, high quality code I write, I am a secure company, those are required, but not the primary goal. Purpose has to solve any business case in the world. That's what my philosophy to drive a business.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. And I think there are a lot of takeaways and the way you answered, the way you have structured your team across 4 generations, the turning point when you came back to Odisha after
Yeah,
quitting Accenture, and then how you want technology to be a catalyst, a driver, and not
yeah,
the core.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think there are a lot of things which I think our viewers need to take note of. That many a times we get caught in that web of solving the technology problem, but forget
Absolutely.
forget the customers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't want
And
to
the
name
purpose,
some
business purpose, mostly
business
the
purpose.
business
Yeah,
purpose. Yeah.
yeah,
Customer is again an individual, like you and me. It's just a brand. He's a father, he's a customer. I take it that
yeah.
way, but it's a business purpose. Yeah. Objective.
Yeah, absolutely. That objective is tied to some need gap of the customer, some
Absolutely.
problem you're solving
Absolutely.
for the customer. Absolutely, that's correct. Now, considering this blend, and since we have done it across, let's try to understand the global flavor in this. So,
Mhm.
if I view it from the global lens, you have done these kind of, let's say, technology deliveries or executions from India to Singapore and UK. So, what changes when we make a shift from one region to another in terms of quality, in terms of innovation, client success? Do these parameters change or they broadly remain the same? What is your view about it?
No, no. If I say, when we started career in the late 90s and early 2000s, I don't see there is a much of a difference because everybody was raw. Everybody was early adopter to the technology. Everybody was just beginning. Then for the business purpose is just to solve a problem. If they save a time, if they able to find a record easily, then it was the case. But when you come over a period of time, the European markets and the US markets, but the advanced markets, they have already adopted that technology. Their business problem is different. Their problem is basically they have systems in silos. Like over a period of time, they developed a purchase system, the sales system, CRM system, production system, manufacturing system. Then over a technology time, they replace SAP with integrating a lot of things. But their challenge is the silos of system, and those systems are not communicating with each other, and the people in the top or the decision making body in the top management, middle management, the lower management, the information flow for them, where the today's world it is talking about data science or AI, is to give them a perspective of business. That is what the where the clients or the regions where they're advanced and they're already early adopters. But when you talk about like countries or the clients where they're still not well versed with the technology, their journey is little different, but they are in the advantageous state. They don't have to spend a lot of money because at the early stage, you give a consulting to them. Okay, boss, this is your company, and this company, this is what your technology framework, and this is what you do first. Then you do this, then you do this thing. Over a period of time, you spend $2 million. Your mm, business is now digital. That is what we can tell. So that is where we have a structured approach of consulting and reach there. But where it is already done, those days those consultants were missing, right? We are the second generation, maybe the first generation did not have the complete view of how a complete digital organization look like. Those visions were not there, but bits and pieces here and there they started building, and they're completely digital. When they're completely digital and spent so much of money, but those silos are killing them. And now their digital journey is how to make those silos into dotted lick list, how those guys can communicate. That is one part where they're already digital, they're adopted to the digitization. And the second side is where they're in the race of digitization, want to be a modernized thing. It's a perfect play for people like me. Go there, help them understand the entire business landscape, and what technology, what stage, which is short term, which is long term, how data can flow, everything you prepare for them and give them a blueprint. Like you go to a old cities like Patna, you go to Cuttack or you go to Chennai, those old areas, the buildings are good, those kind of a thing. But when you have a modern city, the architecture blueprint is ready, and when you see it is exactly the same. So they are ahead of. That's the two different thing I can tell. Late adopters have advantage. Early adopters are taking benefits, but their challenge is consolidation.
No, no, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think somewhere, in this whole life cycle from early adopters to late adopters, let's not call them laggards, because eventually they also
Absolutely not.
they also embrace the technology and blend it into their DNA. There are learnings for both. When you're early adopter, you can experiment, you can roll out versions, you can learn from your implementations. But when a late adopter, you learn from the markets. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Now, I would like to slightly, focus on whole model setup, which you building scalable delivery models. Is there some art and science behind it? Because as you said, you observe, let's say, the old town, then you think of building the modern city. You understand what were the foundations of the old buildings, how the foundations of the new buildings have to be laid down. So I would like to know from you that, as a former delivery head for global clients, how do you design delivery frameworks that balance agility, cost effectiveness, and quality, especially when you are scaling across geographies? So would you like to share your thoughts on that?
It's an interesting question, and there is no direct answer to it. I was always been a rebellion to this context, because typically people talk about offshore delivery model, on-site delivery model, offshore delivery model, hybrid delivery model, nearshore delivery model. And these are the four, and you have to fit forcibly to one of those basket, because no other things people have experimented. To me, it's always it's not the same. Out of four, every case study has to fit in. Let's take a very simple example. Let's say I'm running a ship freight management company where I'm doing a $10 million of business, but on the contrary, I'm a owner who is just not that educated, but I understand the business nuances very well. And I have money. I want to go digitization because the entire world is moving, and I heard that digitization will help. Then what kind of model you will tell him? You have to give a onshore offshore. You have to put one guy in the onshore who will capture the requirement and give it to the offshore. Is it going to work? Absolutely not. Because
Hmm.
how the entire thing is how this change is going to be adopted. If you are going to do a software maintenance project, probably there are a few on-site guys and supported by a few, or there is a number 1:10, one guy on-site, 10 guys offshore, and established client. They have an IT team. You don't have to do much. Those are very, in Hindi, you say takiya kalam, very stereotype delivery model. These are the every Tom, Dick, and Harry are doing in the industry. This is the challenge comes when you want to do a digitization of a company. You have completely blind spots. You don't have IT understanding there, because they're not supposed to be the IT guys. Their core business is freight, and they want to do how a shipment happens, what is the shortest route, what is the routing matrix. They have a different challenge, and let the business owners focus on that. If when I go as a software vendor to them, I have to define a delivery model for them. I'll go back to my previous topic. I'll prepare a roadmap, maybe 5 to 6 consultant to begin with delivery, to sit there and explain them, this is what I'm going to deliver, and this is what your cooperation required. Vendor in isolation defining a delivery model, assuming something, is very dangerous. As a vendor, I assume something and I say this is the delivery model you have to follow, and because he has no idea, then after a couple of years they fail because they doesn't understand what's the delivery model. They don't adopt your system. Then I go back to my initial philosophy. If I have a great technology platform and a great technology solution for your company, and I am failed to adopt your solution, then I don't care. This is not, you may be intellectually satisfied that I've delivered the best of the system in the world, and you can say for the freight company, but if he's not getting out of benefit anywhere, or his team is not acquainted with the software, that's absolutely, your delivery model is crashed, and you cannot take credit out of it. Delivery model is directly associated with an ROI. A delivery model is not vendor centric. Number two, a delivery model where a client's adoption ratio is directly proportional your input to technology. Whatever you input to the technology should be adopted. And the change management, the adoption management in the client side will derive a delivery management. It could be a heavy on-site in the beginning and then raw factory work, writing the code and other things in the behind and the offshore, but giving a periodic output to them. If you want to give a complete digitization of a company and you come after 2 years, I digitized your company, nobody's going to listen to you, right? If you are zero digitization, I will compare to, a patient have a cancer. It's not that I switch on, you are digitized. Technology can say, I switch on, I done development, unit testing, functional testing, integration testing, UAT, penetration, security testing, everything done, production done. Technology ticked. Brilliant delivery model. But a delivery model is successful when you taken care of the client adoption from the beginning till your vision of the end outcome. Even if it is expensive in the client cost, you have to explain to the client, boss, even if at 2 million, I can give you a 2 million software. But the 2 million is a waste if you are not adopting it. For that, please give me 1 million extra. I will not charge you in this budget cycle because you have a constraint. But over a period of time, I will ensure every bit and piece is automated, adopted, and appreciated.
I think it makes perfect sense because Abhijit, in the present times, clients are looking at partners. They're just not
Yeah.
looking at people who are only pure executioners or only who take care about system integration or implementation.
Yes.
You have to understand the problem, explain, and then also understand what part each component and this whole, let's say, let's give an example of legacy modernization will play,
Yeah.
how their
Yeah.
applications are going to modernize, why a certain is required, what are the pit stops. So it's very important, and unless and until you also enable them completely, as you said, whatever model you follow on so near
Is going
shore.
to fail. Is absolutely going to fail. I'll give you another example, if I may. Is let's assume that technology companies, what, like, let's say big companies, big brands. I don't want to name anybody to just to not to particularly giving an example. They have technology bodies, thousands of technology bodies. There is thousands of business analysts. They understand the right, and there is a certain implementers and give it there. How many of them are treating a client is not a god? Client is a partner. 99% of a software industry vendors treating client as a god. If client complain, god complain. They have to give something to satisfy. When we are a partner, I'm respecting the client's business because they are supposed to be in the business and you are supposed to be the technology. But you find a middleman like me who bridge that and then define a model accordingly.
Right.
That
I
is where
think
Invensix, we are in a small company, but I denied almost care business in last 8 years just to do a body shopping development.
I really wonder that how many of the software or technology companies follow this whole philosophy of client partnership in letter and spirit, and
Hmm.
try to understand that, while of course you pay for the costs, you pay for the whole project, but at the same time you need me as much as I need you. You also need me, and
Yeah, absolutely.
together we find a winning formula, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm glad that at Inwin 6, you are following that whole culture of bringing that equity and establishing it from the core.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what is, uh, in the service industry, people say there are 6,000, software companies in India,
Mm,
but still there is enough scope to improve and another Invensix can be formed
that's true.
and still make a difference. That's the thing. When I started my company, people say, there are 20,000, 50,000 software companies in India. What are we extra going to do? Because I can't explain everybody. So the challenge is, you're still treating customer as a god. Remove that. Be a
Absolutely,
part.
absolutely. And in fact, while I'm sure a lot of budding tech entrepreneurs or founders are taking notes, let's address them as an audience about mentoring the next wave of tech founders. So through your role as a chief mentor and advisor, what common gaps do you see in these early stage tech founders today, especially when they're transitioning because they have maybe a brilliant product idea, but
Mhm.
are they market ready? So when you see that transitioning from a product development to market readiness, what gaps do you observe?
See, I will go a little back. Your question is little advanced. I'll go to little fundamental. This next generation of entrepreneurs, they're suffering from a disease that is called ADD. ADD means attention deficient disorder.
Mhm.
So they don't have an attention span, and they draw inspirations from everybody, and they love to draw inspiration from somebody. When you draw inspiration from somebody, you cannot be like him. Every single entrepreneur has his own study, has his own journey. Nobody can draw parallel to anybody. No two fingers in the world, 6 billion people, there are different fingerprints. How can you two entrepreneurs having the same philosophy, same journey? So there is no need to draw inspiration. And second important thing, today's generation is thing, they found a alternative to hard work. They found alternative to commitments, and they found alternative to integrity issues. They generate huge amount of integrity issues. They generate alternative to hard work. How can I get things shortcut? They have a brilliant ideas. Even I told you, right, in some time before, even if there are thousands of software companies, you still have a scope to improve.
Yeah.
Even if there is, today I come up with the suppliers, consumer supply, e-commerce app like Zomato and Swiggy. If I have education is brilliant and I don't compromise with attention to detail, I don't compromise to hard work, and I stick to integrity, I don't copy from anybody, I don't copy codes from anybody, then probably you have a success. There is absolutely no substitute to hard work, commitment, and dig into, and you don't listen to anybody in the world. Nobody can inspire you. When
Mm.
Narayan Murthy cannot inspire you, those books, stop reading those autobiographies of Steve Jobs, stop reading Narayan Murthy, don't follow anybody, because your journey is absolutely different from anybody. If somebody asks me in Vincent's journey of 8 years, I will say my journey is different. Why do you want to follow me? Why don't you take me as an inspiration?
Mm.
Write your own story by yourself. If you, the moment you look for somebody's story, then you try to copy him. You try to emulate him. You can't build your own personality. If I'm an IT guy and I say I follow Bhagavad Gita, makes sense, because Bhagavad Gita is nowhere closer to my philosophy, my way of business. If I say I follow Arijit Singh, it makes sense.
Mm.
But there is no way I can follow an IT entrepreneur. How
Okay.
do I imitate somebody else's story, sir? Absolutely not, Gaurav.
Mm.
My story is my story. I may fail down the line. Doesn't matter. But every morning I get up and I say, how can I make Invin6 better next day? There is nobody to tell me that have to be inspired. And if you can inspire yourself on those dirty days, you are a successful entrepreneur. Out of 100, deals, 80 will fail. Then this 20 will have 10 will have integrity issues. Clients are not good. Your staffs are not good. You just have to bang on those 10. If those 90 failures you cannot see in your thing, yourself, without looking at anybody, gone. The best way to look at yourself is your partner. A marriage will be successful when your partner is with you. Similarly, the only people who can inspire you, who can put you down, is your partners. And compromising with hard work, commitment, those, it's going to be stay with AI, without AI.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my answers are too long, but I'm just trying to be
No,
very
no,
vocal and blunt.
no. I'm just trying to connect the dots, and while I really appreciate that, at the same time, you do not have that whole, let's say, belief that I'm at a pedestal, I'm a mentor, so what I say is right. So you are actually trying to tell people that while you should definitely try to take inspiration, but not emulate anyone, because everyone has their own,
Absolutely.
they have their own journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes. And if I read your story, let's say same story, and you are successful and I am not, I am a human. I'll start comparing myself and I will start doubting myself. Every
yeah,
day I sleep without any, I clear all my emails, I clear all my WhatsApp messages, I sleep. I don't sleep without replying it. I
yeah,
end my day telling me, today you performed brilliant. I get up in the morning, I say I am the best.
yeah.
Absolutely, there is nothing, no inspiration to me.
No, absolutely. See, the way Mr. Murthy built Infosys 40 years ago or 40 plus years ago, you cannot build with that same philosophy today. But of course, he is an
Absolutely not.
inspiration, but you have to find your own story or your own path for today.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
So,
In a when we are in a booze, in a beer, you can
mm,
talk about Infosys is good or Accenture is good. You can Wipro is good, but when you come to your own desk, you are the best.
you
If
are the
somebody
best.
today I'm the best. Founder of Invensix is best. Narayan Murthy is number two.
Now you mentioned about AI, and AI is I think one of the most popular buzzwords. So my
Mhm,
next question is oriented towards that. How this
mhm,
whole technology services are changing. Their DNA is
mhm,
changing. Let's say
mhm,
because of AI, low code, automation, transforming these delivery models. Because this is gradually taking over as
mhm.
people are saying, right? Vibe coding is coming. Codes are getting automated, so all of these things. So how do you see the role of service providers and consultants evolving in next 5 years?
Two phases to this answer. I'll go back to a little uh, old stories, when world started. In every industry, it works on a 80-20 ratio. 80% people are there to do your factory job, and 20% of the 20% of the organization run any, right? And those 80% are going out of the market and always say the market is down. They're throwing their Accenture is firing, Infosys is firing, CS is firing. Though that is those 80%, right? Nobody touches those 20%, even if you're in the best crisis of your life, right? People try to retain those 20% because they are your cream. Drawing their parallels, AI or low code, no code can disturb those 80%
Hmm.
in some effect. 20% who drive the business, still the human intelligence, human brain is critical, and there is no substitute to human thinking. AI cannot think better than me. I'll just give a lighter note. I will tell yesterday that, in a couple of weeks back, there was a customer coming in for a thing and he signed the deal. And he said, as a typical negotiation, he is doing some other software. He's saying, can you give me some AI? What do you mean by some AI I will give you? Means you buy vegetables, can you give me some dhania? That's the way people are treating AI. AI is, again, if technology is a catalyst to business, AI is a catalyst to technology. If I take technology as the front runner, AI trying to replace technology, absolutely no. I'm working on a project now which is MVP is written AI code, and so I've seen that code. We have to rewrite. If very, this chat GPT, this stack overflow, all this thing, what is this? I just write the copy paste code, output has come, you agree that is output is, I'm done. Then I say something, then AI given me a PPT, your company's PPT has been done. Use AI effectively as a catalyst to technology. The moment anything is going to supersede a human brain, dangerous. As I told you, the moment Narayan Murthy or Steve Jobs is, for me, is a much better achiever in the world, I will succumb to the pressure. I have to use AI as a catalyst to technology. Business is nowhere coming into picture. And this technology is still standing in between business objectives and AI. The moment you skip the technology and business try to use AI, it's a dangerous proposition. And yes, the low code, no code, and the second part you said low code, no code, and automation. These are actually somewhere very good, because most of these repetitive code, the repetitive processes, every time you write, there is a chance of error. The developer qualities are not good. The timeline is huge. For those things, low code, no code makes sense, but it is yet to be proved how enterprise level application this low code, no codes can help. But yet to see as the time flies, because the technology advancement is still going on in the market. But these are good things. DevOps is one of the things which is I really appreciate, because the variety of developers and the vendors and all these things. DevOps will help, AI will help, but the moment it directly take ownership of the business, it's a problem. It has to deal with technology first. That's my entire conversation with you is actually the core objective of the business. Yeah, yeah,
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that whole human angle, that strategy
yeah.
part, or let's say the refinement part, can only be brought in by the humans. Otherwise, what you get is very standard, templatized. It may not have the whole context which only humans can bring in. That's true. So let's try to spend some time on this part itself further. My next question is based on exactly on this part. What is that human factor in tech consulting? And attached to this question is, how should engineers build a consulting mindset? Because you would have seen, a lot of situations when you would have worked at the intersection of engineering and strategy. So how these tech professionals can cultivate a consulting mindset, getting the analytical depth along with business empathy. And at the same time, how important it is to have emotional intelligence while you're working with different stakeholders in achieving technology transformation, compared to having only the pure technology skills or working only on tools. So I would like to know your views on this.
Okay, so let me start this answer by saying when the people say you're emotional fool, it's actually their fool. People who doesn't have an emotion, people who flawful people. Without emotions, you cannot drive anything. Why do you love your mother very much than anybody in the world? Because you have emotion attached. Anybody who invented a particular thing in the world and gifted to this world has an emotion attached to that particular thing. Emotion brings out those dead cells to active. Your brain has dead cells without brain has complete dead cells. When emotion injected to those dead cells, they're active, and that can give you wonders. It is applicable everywhere. People who are emotional fools, they are cheated by the fools, and let them continue to cheat those emotional fools. If those people are cheated, then you identify that this guy has a potential. And when they cheated, they're not trying to be smart. They're continuing to be the same emotion. Emotions bring aggression. Emotion brings thinking. Emotion brings intelligence. Emotion brings passion. With all these things, you can do anything. So that is what my first way of explanation. Then coming to how emotion bring in. So as I said, if I go for a consulting and organization, do you think everybody in the receiving organization is a partner organization? Everybody is friendly to you? You enter to an organization, you say, I'm going to do digitization. Do you expect a friendly behavior with them?
No, there will be roadblocks.
That absolutely. And that when the top boss gives an order that okay, Abhijit or Gaurav is two guys are going to your office to do understand the complete business landscape, and they are going to be our consultant for next 6 months. Prepare a roadmap for us, digitization roadmap, and then a consultants. Then you are accepted cleanly? No, you will not
No.
get anything. You have to identify those key people. Number one. Number two is critical. In those people, you have to find out what is their emotional cord. You don't hit the resistiveness. When they're resistant to a point, you hit that resistive point, you try to prove your point, and he tries to prove his point, then it fails. You try to be emotional with them, give them a knowledge around that, and hit those guys' emotional point. The toughest guy in the world has an emotional point. The toughest dictatorship in the world has an emotional cord. You have to touch that. Without emotional cord, consulting is not possible. The basic fundamental of a consulting job is to get all information out. If you are not getting touching those emotional chords, you will not get all of information out. And if you try to prove your point that you are correct, rest of the world is wrong, because the consultant ego, or other side, the person who is giving you the knowledge is ego, then nothing is going to solve. Both has to coexist. You have to touch that emotional part. And how a technology people go in third part is asking how a technologist can be a consultant. To me, at Invent6, I have very ensured that every technology person who is joining from fresh from the college, he will do first 1 year to understand what is IT. After that, he has to understand business. I go randomly to my team, and even with a small project, pick the youngest guy in the team, ask him to explain me the business. Don't tell me it has an add button, it has an edit button, it has a workflow, it has a report. Don't tell me this thing. If you do this thing, what will happen? It's basically not 2000, it is not early 2000, it is not 90s where technologist has a separate role to play. No, it has to be technology plus the business sense. It's a techno consulting. It is basically uh, people have to be nurtured. In bigger organizations, this nurturing is quite difficult because you don't get a sense of thousands of people who will nurture. You don't know. They will try to find a tool to nurture people, and how to nurture people through a tool. Tick, 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 tick. That's not the way lot big organization do, right? I pass this certification, I become quality certified, I become infrastructure certified, and how does that matter? It's not going to help. So people like us who are seeing both side of the coin from being a technologies to a business analysis perspective. So what you need to do is you need to nurture the people from the beginning, and you need to find those talents who are 50 to 60% technology, and rest of the 60% is unknown. Groom them. If you take 100% techie and try to convert into a consultant, definitely not possible, because he's given his blood and sweat. He will not change. You have to find those people that 50-60% technologist and 50% is gap. People say they are not attention to detail, they are not focused, they find loopholes on them. Pick those talents and push them to understand business, because now you understood technology, go there and act as an agent between a technologist and a business driver. That is how you have to grow. And I think in the next, this generation is brilliant. Means they got to the business knowledge before even we don't have those social medias, this internet buzz. When we get the business knowledge, these guys are very smart. Ask for a project, it is a project on a Bitcoin or something like that, and they will research what is Bitcoin and all, and come back with a document or a chat GPT will give it. At least they will read it out. That this is the advantage these guys carry. And just right channelization is required, and just brainwash them that you are brilliant guy. Everybody did not to be a complete 100% technologist. Beyond technology, there is something called a business understanding. And the same theory, what I have been leaving, you have to tell people, okay, this is what. And don't tell them how to do it. Tell them what is to do. If you, how you tell, then you become, you are enforcing your old generation philosophy on them. Leave it to them how they do. They are better doers than you if they understand it well.
No, absolutely. And I think you have literally given a winning framework. While, of course, I understand a lot of technology, especially of the current generation, have access to information, courtesy social media, courtesy AI tools. But at the same time, you have to identify who are the right people who can actually take the journey forward as a consultant. And, finding who have that knack or that question for EQ, let's say
Yeah.
emotional quotient, so that when you kind of reject those emotional chords, as you said, and then you identify how you can equip them with that business knowledge, you have a
Yes.
brilliant consultant at hand. but
Yes.
but it's sure that's now it's kind of very evident from the fact that having you in tech consulting for so long, there is a very very strong element of human plus emotions there. And
Yes.
literally, it can
Emotion has to come with passion. Yeah. You have
yeah,
to be passionate.
yeah. So it can activate any cell. So I'm sure it's very easy to convince and educate the client in that sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to take a circle back to Asia now. What are your lessons from the Asia, from the cross collaboration? What has been done at the level of Asia? Because you've advised teams in India, Vietnam, Singapore. How can some emerging tech companies in Asia collaborate more effectively and build globally competitive products and consulting capabilities? So, any specific view on Asia or Asian companies?
I always believed that not now. Everything in the world is built by Asians, and some part of Europe, like German, France, part of Central Europe. Uh, Anything America has IP of all these things, but who built them? Indians, Asians. So, and at any given day, I would say Asians have built the world, but didn't have the capacity to integrate them. 20 years back, Asia was always looking for a H1B visa or a Europe visa or go to Australian visa, go there and work and bid technology for them or bid some big things for them, and it's become their IP, and you get a very enjoyable life. That's what Asia's mindset, like barring countries like Singapore or maybe some part of Beijing or Shanghai and all. But rest of the, this Asia is basically, export people, human resources, best of resources, not people. Best of the top talents of Asia go to America or Europe and build technology for them. Of late, we have realized that we are building for somebody and we are not. So see, when the inflow from these Asian countries is less, Asia has started developing knowledge, started building little IPs, and started building technologies, started building new platforms, started building quite a few things which is not there in the western part of the world. But next decades or next 2 decades is Asia decade. It's for sure. And for that, people like me who, like when Y2K problem happened, it's like you can stand in an airplane and go to US for work, right? And then get a green card. And that I always denied a on-site. I did not stay any country more than 3 months at a stretch. So I'm traveled maybe 1,000 times to out of India, but never choose to stay. That is where I am one of the struggling employee, and now a struggling employer. So that's the pain few of people like me has to take for the next 2 decades to Asia to overtake.
Yeah. I think because you remain connected to your roots, in some sense, that native intelligence or native foundation was stronger here, because so many companies are founded in Silicon Valley, Bay Area, that is the hub of that. But let's face it, if Asians can do it anywhere, why can't they do it in their own country?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You choosing and adopting be on this boat, I'm sure you will make it sail. That's for sure. So appreciate that
Yeah,
thought. Yeah. Okay. So this takes us to the last question, and my last
yeah.
question has two elements to it. So, as a mentor or as a practitioner yourself, what is your advice to the next generation of tech leaders? And in that specifically, I would also like to know from you that what specific advice you have for tech founders, or how you can motivate them to even choose tier 2 destinations. For coming up with their new age ideas and laying the foundation in their own hometowns or other tier 2 destinations. Yeah. So would like to hear from you.
Okay, the first question answer, what is my advice to the tech entrepreneurs? The moment you choose to be an entrepreneur, you should be come out of the place that where you say, I follow a process. When you work for a big organization, you are jailed to processes, protocols, and certain boundaries. You cannot do beyond a boundary. The moment you choose to be an entrepreneur, be ready to write your own process, own protocol, without being called as a dictator.
Yeah.
If you are a process follower, you are not an entrepreneur. Number one. Number two, stop comparing yourself with anybody. I will tell you one of the smallest thing in my entrepreneurial career. I've worked with thousands of clients. I have thousands of good friends. I have wonderful relationship with all my client heads, business heads, vice presidents, CTOs, CEOs, and everything. The day I jumped into entrepreneurship, I decided not to connect any of my previous connects because to establish those connects, I've been paid. My last company paid me to establish those relationships.
Yeah.
So I never connected any of my clients to that. Every single client I built is from scratch, which is built by me. So that is my integrity. Because my integrity to the last organization is you paid me, I served you, and you paid me. Done. I'm starting my career. I've not contacted. Maybe a few guys I've contacted because they're not part of those organizations because good friends and all. They're from the industry, but not per se those clients. I maintain my integrity. So integrity is the key to any entrepreneur. As usual, the passion, hard work, and commitment. Number three. Number four is believing in yourself. The moment in your eyes, Steve Jobs is better than you living with something, some gap. No, I'm not the best. You cannot perform at your best. So never ever think that my friends always tease me. I always say I'm in top 2% of the world. I have that belief in me and I stand by that. And then the next part of the question was, can you repeat the last part again?
More specifically, the ones who are planning to lay the foundation of their startups in tier 2
In a
towns, like your
tier two
hometown.
cities, yeah. So that is that. If I tell, I'll tell lie. I know what is the pain sitting in a tier two city. I have recruited almost 200 people, and their objective when you come to the organization, they're very friendly. They try to learn from me. Wait, I didn't have access to a 30-year experienced guy to when I was working. They'll work with you. Then their objective was to join Infosys. So their objective is to join TCS because they will get married. They'll have a social value, and Invin6 become or somebody will take your thing and start a new company. So these are three basic possibilities. So when this happens, what will happen is, you feel sometimes you are a human, right? You can be the best, but you are a human. So I feel that Invin6 is a factory which produces few integrated issue entrepreneurs and and given few good resources to Infosys, TCS, Accenture, whoever is in my city. That is the discouragement point. I started with this thing because you have to be very you have to mentally prepare this kind of issues is going to happen. Very truly, cities like Bhubaneswar, which still enjoys when Accenture comes to Bhubaneswar, they still enjoy. When Cognizant comes to Bhubaneswar, they enjoy, they celebrate, but they never celebrate in wins. So Bangalore never been a Bangalore by celebrating Google or Microsoft or Amazon. Bangalore 30 years back, and when the leaders choose to give land support, IT has to boom, and they took Bangalore-based IT companies to be today what they are. So tier two cities, you will have the challenge faced. They will continue to celebrate when IT in Bhubaneswar is been celebrated. They say Accenture has built a facility here, 10,000 people. They say Cognizant has come with a 7,000 people. TCS has a campus 3 with another 5,000 people. But the system will never look at Invin6, what they're doing. They will never call you for a meeting. If they call you for a meeting, they will not listen to you. So that is a challenge of a tier 2 city. But the beauty of tier 2 city is you have emotional support. You stay with your friends, you stay with your parents, you have ups and downs. You can get a beer if you're tired, you get a beer in 100 rupees in Bhubaneswar. You have those emotional support system, and your passion to contribute to your roots is there, then you have to come to tier 2 city. But India's tier 2 city has to be mature. My message to the system is the governing bodies, the IT policies of the government and all, cannot build a tier 2 city into a hub unless and until your homegrown entrepreneurs are encouraged. If you celebrate the biggies coming to your city, and your startups are the manufacturer, resource manufacturer for the biggies, sorry, tier 2 cities is going to not going to sustain any tier 2 city journey. From tier 2 city to tier 1 city is, you have to be mentally strong to face these challenges. There is no other encouragement point. You have to be mentally strong to face, the you will be feel discriminated, because when if I would have been in Accenture continuing now, I would have been a big shot there, right? Even if I'm an average guy, and you see another guy in Accenture coming in, and he has been treated as a god, and used because of your running invencies with 40, 50, or 70 people, and you are treated as no, nobody cares for you. And so that is where that's a challenge. But mentally strong, that one day or other day, somebody somewhere something will change.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a very good and promising note on which you have put forth for our viewers, because we need to believe, as you said, we need to believe in ourselves that I am the best.
Yes.
That is my
Yes.
first takeaway. Second takeaway is that I need to be passionate about my work, and eventually success will follow. My third point is I need to be mentally strong instead of joining hands with biggies, which is no wrong, but ensuring you build your own homegrown systems, you gather your own resources, build your own ecosystem. Then you are truly homegrown, and you are
Yes.
originating out of your tier 2 location, your own location. It's important, and very rarely we celebrate success of these several fishes in the pond, like maybe in Win6, which contributes so much to that whole ocean, may not be celebrated, recognized, or rewarded. But I think time has come when people are realizing that as you can say, right, more experimentations are happening, more success stories of new age startups is being showcased on social media, on television. I think, I'm sure, this tide is going to change a few things, and you rightly said, nothing will change if we don't change, or we change our mindset.
Absolutely. I just want to tell one last point as an entrepreneurial journey before we conclude, is the moment you define it as a success, you are finished.
Mm.
Entrepreneur cannot define a success. Entrepreneur cannot be successful. He will die without testing a success. The moment he tests a success, he's finished. He just have to believe a journey. If it is today, you have a good day. In a night, next day morning, it's a normal. Today is a bad day. Next day morning, it's a normal day. Entrepreneur cannot outside world term them successful, failure, milestones. It's fine. Don't care. But entrepreneurs in a mind cannot feel that I'm successful or I'm success. This is my success point. It's a journey.
Very
Leave
true.
it there.
Yeah,
Leave
yeah.
it there. That's it. Simple.
Pursuing success is a journey. Of course, it's not a milestone. Absolutely. I would like
Yeah.
to convey my regards and thanks. It was honor to have you at the platform of Dawdle.live. You have enriched us and the viewers and the followers with such rich knowledge, and I'm sure we have lot and lots of takeaways to take forward. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you have been a wonderful host to me. And any given point of time, anywhere my knowledge can be used, you can just put me a note. I'm 24/7 guy, just 6 hours allow me to sleep. That's it.
Sure, sure. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.